Those living in Washington, D.C. had a rather eventful Sunday. Sometime in the afternoon, they heard military jets scrambling in the sky above. And as it turns out, F-16s were chasing a private jet that had entered the restricted airspace near the White House and the U.S. Capitol building. So what happened next? A high-speed supersonic chase in the skies. Our next report telling you.
A loud boom was heard in Washington, D.C. on Sunday afternoon. There was no bomb blast, explosion or fatal collision. Instead, up in the sky were F-16 jets chasing a private plane, a Cessna Citation, at supersonic speed. The notorious plane had taken off from Tennessee and it was bound for New York. The plane's flight path shows that it crossed its intended destination and had begun flying back towards Tennessee. Why? No one knows. During the course of its flight, the jet entered the restricted airspace over the White House and the U.S. Capitol. This prompted an emergency response. The FAA, or the Federal Aviation Administration, called the plane's pilot, but there was no response. So two fighter jets took off from Joint Base Andrews to intercept the plane. They tried to chase down the private plane at a supersonic speed, producing the boom. The sound shook homes in Washington, D.C. It could be heard as far as the suburbs of Virginia and Maryland. This napping dog, for example, was taken by surprise during his siesta. In case you didn't know, a sonic boom is caused by an object moving faster than sound, around 1,200 kilometers per hour. People living in and around Washington, D.C. rushed to Twitter to share their experience. This one person asked if the sound was from a meteor exploding in the atmosphere. Another said he felt the pressure wave in his chest. Someone joked on Twitter that he thought the boom was a result of the US debt ceiling collapsing. So did the F-16s manage to catch up with the private jet? No. After crossing DC, the Cessna began descending rapidly and crashed into a mountain in Virginia. US officials made it a point to clarify that the F-16s did not cause the crash. So what did? And who was in that flight? The Cessna jet was owned by a Florida-based company. Its 75-year-old owner said his daughter and 2-year-old granddaughter were on board the plane, along with a nanny and the pilot. The mother-daughter duo were returning to their East Hampton home after a visit to North Carolina. So why did the plane take a U-turn? Why did it enter the restricted airspace and come dangerously close to the White House? And why did the pilot not answer the FAA's call? Officials say the plane meant no harm.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.